911, do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911, plus...
He must have been going about 60 miles an hour.
A hang glider violently crashes.
I thought Gilbert was gone.
Sending a rescue squad off-road on Rescue 911.
We begin on July 30th, 1989, in the Sauratown Mountains, near Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
All right, look at him go.
It's a beautiful sport. I myself didn't want to be up there, but it was amazing just to see what good times they were having.
I'll be up to join you, Jim.
Gilbert Aldrich was an experienced hang glider pilot. During the 6 months he had been dating Nancy Lumley, she had often accompanied him when he went flying.
Whatever he gets into his sport, I was happy just to be with him. You know how girls do when they date guys, they want to please them.
It's gonna be good.
The only other pilots on the mountain that day were Jim Bruton and Doug Rice.
Jim was already soaring overhead, so the conditions looked good, and I was in a hurry to join them.
Here you go, baby. There's your backpack.
Here, pull that down and backwards.
He had showed me how to set a glider up, how all the tubes, where they went. And since I had set him up, you know, I did the check.
This one needs a little bit straighter. I don't mind helping you, but you gotta cooperate.
Yeah, I'll just keep my eye on Jim.
Okay.
So he holds that glider up, and then he would go over to the launch pad.
Okay.
Okay, babe, watch that tree over there.
All right.
Okay, come on, I'll help you on the ramp with it.
All right, let's set her down right here so I can look things over.
Okay.
Okay.
And you forgot your helmet.
Oh. Can't reach it.
About that time, a good breeze comes.
Got it.
They always say that you might wait another hour, possibly, before you get that other good breeze.
I'm getting up there.
So you go for it. The nose just pointed down. He didn't have any control. Down he went, going towards the trees, just like somebody had shot him from an arrow.
It was after I'd gotten my glider off my truck when I heard Nancy scream.
See, he's over there in the trees.
I tried to keep Nancy calm while looking for some sign of movement. Since the normal flying speed of the glider is only about 25 miles an hour, I've never seen anybody get hurt by landing in a tree.
Jim, you see Gil's flight? He's down in the trees.
Okay.
Go down and land. I'll meet you at the bottom.
Okay, I'll go down and get him.
Doug said, you go down to the road. By the time you get to the road, Gilbert's going to be standing there waiting on you.
Jim, Doug, and Nancy all headed down to look for Gilbert.
I drove, and I drove, and I drove, and no Gilbert. And by this time, the tears, you know, they were streaming, and I couldn't hardly see to drive, and I thought, this can't happen to us. I mean, I love this guy.
The glider would obviously be the easiest thing to see. The main concern was maybe he wasn't able to get out of the glider. When I first saw the glider, Gil was not in it. And then as I moved in just a little bit closer to where the glider was, that's when I had the shock of my life.
What happened?
He said I wasn't hooked in.
Gil's over here, Jim.
At that point, the whole frightening scenario of what had happened kicked in.
Don't worry, Gil. We're gonna get you out here, buddy. Oh, bud.
He's been laying here for about 45 minutes, hasn't moved, and I realized that to have come down, straight down, as he obviously did, that he must have been going about 60 miles an hour.
Oh, God, it's bad.
He'd lost quite a bit of blood, was struggling to speak as if the wind had been knocked out of him, and we assumed that he had internal injuries.
All right, I'm gonna get you some help. Make sure you can get back to the spot.
Doug ran to the nearest house to call for help. A rescue squad from the Sauratown Volunteer Fire Department and a Stokes County ambulance were immediately dispatched to the scene.
Hurry, you bag. I think he's hurt bad.
When I heard the sirens, I knew then I'm not going to find him up there, you know, just jumping up and coming running in my arms. He's hurt.
Among those who responded was paramedic Greg Collins.
It's very steep, very rocky, and very rough. We knew it would take at least 30 to 40 minutes to get back down off the mountain.
They were considering whether or not they needed a helicopter, and I asked them to absolutely get a helicopter. I have lost a couple of friends, but Gil's accident was one of the worst I've had to see since I've been in the sport of hang gliding.
Nancy!
I didn't know where Gilbert was alive or dead until he said his first words.
You know where you at? Can you hear me? Yeah.
They were asking him what day it was. And it was Sunday, and he said it's Tuesday.
Second BP is 80/40.
They told us that he had an open fracture of his arm, decreased lung sounds to one side, which was indication that he probably had a collapsed lung.
Ambulance up here.
His blood pressure was dropping dramatically over 5-minute intervals. He looked shocky, he was cold. In a day with a temperature around 85 to 90, he should not have been cold. This man was in serious trouble.
You're gonna get to ride in a helicopter. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
That's right.
I couldn't even see in front of me. I was crying so hard. I mean, he was just as white could be. It was like all the blood was drained out of him. I thought Gilbert was gone.
When the air care helicopter got Gilbert to Baptist Hospital, he was barely clinging to life.
2 liters of fluid in flight.
A trauma team awaited his arrival, led by Dr. Wayne Meredith.
He lost about half his blood, internally and externally. And so he was reaching the end of the fuse on his time bomb.
You need to get this tube in your chest. You popped your lung over here, okay?
You wait all your life for that special someone.
Blood pressure, but we need to take him in the operating room because it looks like his kidney's been hurt pretty bad.
I was going to stick with him. I was going to be right there with him and pull him through this. I knew I wasn't a doctor, but I'd always heard that if a person has love and a person has will to live, you're not going to lose him.
I'm going to be out in the waiting room, okay? I love you, darling.
Okay, somebody call the OR. Tell them we're on the way.
Family think the tennis court belongs to the park.
3 months after the accident, I could just barely walk a half a mile. But Nancy was willing to give everything that she had for me.
Gilbert Aldrich underwent more than a year of rehabilitation, including 8 weeks in the hospital with a bruised brain, collapsed lung, punctured kidney, and broken elbow.
Then I'd have probably panicked, and I guess I would have fell and been a greasy spot.
He's terrific. Has a little ups and downs with the elbow, probably always will, but besides that, he is back to normal, and we don't even talk about hang gliding.
Let's go into that parking lot.
If he'd been in shock another hour, he would have probably died of infections. The first responders and the pre-hospital group in this case did great. I think they did terrific, and they wasted no time. Time is critical in this situation.
He's very lucky. Not many people fall from the sky and survive.
I didn't realize it at the time, but I was addicted to hang gliding. It is so much more awesome than anything else that I had ever done. Everything else fades to that. But the longer I was away from it, and the more I got involved in fun things with Nancy, I realized that I was enjoying life a lot more.
Yeah.
Do both of you, before these witnesses, promise to do everything in your power to make this a happy and lasting marriage? We do.
21 months after the accident, Nancy Lumley and Gilbert Aldrich were married.
You ready to run?
Yeah.
That was a long, hard road back to recovery for me, and I had never felt that kind of love and care. I just don't ever want to be without a woman who can love me as much as she loved me then.